If you're, okay, she's thinking of it in relationship to somebody having a heart attack. It's what they call the blood thinner. Okay, any other things you might associate with heparin? It's a medicine that they can give people to keep their blood thin who may have had a blood clot. All right? It's pretty strong, like the medicine they give people. In our bodies, we do have the ability for it to be created, because if we have something such as the site of an injury, we want all the materials possible to get to that area to help not only with stopping my blood flow, but to help bring in materials that can help heal and fight any invaders. So heparin is actually important in the body. It's a little tricky, but anyway, for our purposes right now, that's one of the things associated with the basophils. So my granulocytes, and they have big lysosomes, all right? In the early days, when we didn't have the scopes that were as strong as they are now, that is how they labeled them, because it looked like the lysosomes were the granules. And so they termed them granulocytes. However, the ones that they termed A granulocytes also have granules. They just could not be visualized at the time of the naming. But we keep them in these classes. There are two. Lymphocytes and monocytes. Now, to give you a little piece of information that refers back to earlier in the chapter, lymphocytes have their own colony-forming unit. They're going to be a tad bit unique. Lymphocytes have their own colony-forming unit. Monocytes come from the colony-forming unit that gives rise to like red blood cells, platelets, basos, neutros, eos. So these particular cells, okay, they live longer. Monocytes can live up to a few years. Lymphocytes can survive decades until death. Lymphocytes, let's kind of take the term apart. Lymph, lymphatic, lymph nodes. These cells are going to become a part of my lymphatic and immune systems. So yes, they're going to kind of be high in number. However, they're going to have to differentiate into something that will then play a part in my immune and lymphatic systems, which we're going to get to in those chapters. We'll cover a little bit here. My monocytes. Once again, both of these tissues, they get to migrate from the blood to the tissues of the body. Monocytes are third highest in number. However, their numbers rise in the case of inflammation and viruses. Which one rose in number for bacteria?
Neutrophils.
Neutros. Monos rise in number against a virus. How could there, oh my goodness. Okay, 5 more minutes and then y'all take a break. How could those numbers be clinically significant? All right, let's say you not feeling good, go to the doctor, they're like, okay, well, pretty sure you've got, I don't know, an infection somewhere. Put you on some antibiotics, send you home, and they're like, well, it's been 5 days. I'm not feeling much better. Let me go back to the doctor again. This time, the doctor might draw some blood, might order what's called a complete blood count. That means they're going to try to identify the number of the white blood cells. And let's say that after they do that, they find that the neutrophils are very high in number. So chances are you have been invaded by a bacteria that your body couldn't fight off. The antibiotic helped, but might not have gotten rid of it, so they might have to try stronger antibiotic. But let's say that they come back and now monocytes are high in number. That means it's a virus. Antibiotics are not doing you any good. You have to let, depending on the virus, okay, you have to let the body mount the attack and hopefully control the problem. So this is how it could be clinically significant for knowing the numbers for the white blood cells. Because if they do, okay, they can help determine the best treatment. With the monocytes, something that's going to happen. Because in the case of a virus, antibiotics do no good, okay? None. It is, well now, depending on the virus, they do have some viruses now that they give antivirals for. But in the case of like a cold or something like that, it becomes the job of your body's immune system to fight the battle. Monocytes can help because monocytes, when they move out of the bloodstream, they become what we call a macrophage, a large eater. That's what a macrophage is. And if they are now moving around in the tissues of the body and they encounter the foreign invader, they will now wrap around it, and because they have lysosomes, materials, okay, they can engulf it and kill it. But let's say that whatever that virus, whatever it is that invaded, is dividing a number too quickly, and they can't fight that battle. What the monocyte will do, it will act as something called an antigen presenting cell. The invader that it tried, or the invader that it did destroy, it will take a little piece of that invader, push it through the membrane, and have it right here, and it will now move to, most likely, the closest lymph node. Because guess what's sitting in the lymph node?
Lymphocytes.
Lymphocytes, which can begin to create the attack by generating antibodies that will go after the invader and neutralize them. Kind of cool about your white blood cell. Okay, right to back to 9:45. Thank you.
The person that's jading, they try to keep the test like in the dermatologist here, or do they try to get it?
I'm guessing they were
Because I didn't touch it, but I was trying to see if it asked the password, because usually when I click on the test, it'll show me the password first before it says like you could cancel it again. So I assumed that it wasn't doing the password, so I was going to do it at the parent location today.
No, it's something that goes wrong.
Okay.
It's, even though I tell it to not require a password, I don't know why Respondus defaults to that. And when it defaults to it, it puts a password in that I don't even know. And then I have to go look at all the settings, find what password it gave it. So I'm gonna just go ahead and solve the problem. And if it asks for it, just type in whatever I put as the announcement.
Okay.
Okay, should work anywhere.
So I'm going to take it later today, so that's why.
Yeah, should, so if you encounter it and put in that password that it says, you shouldn't have any problems with Respondus making it work.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mhm.